Dolores Cannon and Kim Go-Gun were right. Dolores said it the way she said it because she knows what the truth is. And you know by Dolores' history where she learned it through all the others and her own heart and soul to know what the truth is. She knew. She's experiencing the message that comes through the server. She's experiencing the message from the one. She knew. She knows what the truth is. Okay? That's why I love Dolores Cannon. She had it down. And so Kim Go-Gun expressed that. Okay? And she showed you sort of a chart on her whiteboard. Okay? And she made a simple sentence. You don't want to be down here for very long, right? She showed you how that works. A schematic. Right? And so what it really means for me is how fast you're spinning. Okay? How fast can you spin a vortex? That's what you really want to learn, right? And why is that? Because then that becomes the most powerful shield against gene swarming, code transfers, something trying to penetrate your shield. So you want to run a crystal shield, the hardest there is, like a diamond pink, right? Yeah. I call it the shield of one. The first rod, the first line of communication. That's what it is. That's a monopole. So then you could sort of say, well, how fast can you become a monopole? Well, I made a measurement of that actually, right in my own timeline to see. And believe it or not, it can happen in less than a generation. Whoa. You mean to tell me you can come into a hell realm, light yourself on fire, become a monopole, an oversoul, in less than a generation? Yeah, that's precisely right. That's how I made a measurement of energy, what do you call them? Binding devices, feeding devices, implants, and all the rest of that. I had to come in and figure out how they were doing all this. So I came out of pure light. Okay? Because you know when you're in pure light, you don't ever experience anything less than what love is. Now you come into a place that isn't, like the direct opposite of that. Okay, so how do you get out of a hell realm? By being faster than them, which means you're learning faster than them. Isn't that what Kim was saying? You don't want to stay down here for very long, right? Even in the comical remarks that Aaron and I make back and forth with each other, even though he's doing better. Aaron is doing much better. I love Aaron with all my heart and soul. And he's a biopharmacologist. He knows. He's a Tesla relative. So, when I have a guy tell me that he's shooting up directly into his vein, right? O3, stuff like that, right? What is it? 10 milligrams of a colloidal silver to get rid of stuff. So it's not like he doesn't know stuff that doesn't belong there. Right? So it's just like, yeah, you know how this is. You don't want to become food for something else on the food chain, right? The food density network. You just become a food for something else because you're running powerful energy because they're not there yet. That's what it is. You realize you're moving at a higher rate of speed by virtue of how fast you're learning that become a living star. How fast you can become a real living star. Not one that falls. You're always with the one which is an eternal star. So you're in service on behalf of the one. So you're never losing your one connection. So you're always on fire, and that's the eternal spirit of fire. Now you're running a clean burning machine, right? That's the first fire engine. That's first out the door. As soon as we get a trouble light, you know what a trouble light is, right, in the universe? First alarm. That's called a first alarm fire. Firefighters know what a first alarm is. We're the first out of the gate. There comes another AI drone bugging me as soon as I start talking about that. The AI, it's what it does. whenever I'm out here communicating powerful truth about what I experienced in my heart and my soul, particularly what I just communicated, all of a sudden I get a bug on me to distract me, to break the circuit. That's what it does. That's its job. That's its function. It's an inverter, right? And so anything to interrupt your circuits, right? So the more that you communicate the truth that others have the potential to experience, how to get out of here, right? So that you're not food for something that's dead. So that's what it is. What did she call it? The Lord of Karma, something like that. Yeah, and I call them feeder lines. So that's why they go after the most powerful teachers, okay? Particularly a healing artist, Mama. They don't want your feet grounded to Mother Earth and to have a spiritual connection, communication with her. Right? Like having an avatar mind where you're communicating with the rocks, the trees, and everything else because you can read their frequency, their communication. You love playing their music, being with their music. That's what plants are, musicians. Okay? That's why as soon as I came out of my mother's room, I know right where to be, Mama. I know right where to be. If I'm not in a forest, I'm on a beach with crystals jumping in the ocean. So I'm either in the ocean or I'm up in the trees. Right? Yeah, lives in the trees. Living in the trees. Living in living trees. Right? Not living in dead cities. That's where all the weapons are. That's where all the antennas. All your TV stations, radio stations, low frequency generators hammer your antenna. Hit you with just an enormous amount of dirty electricity. Now you got to burn all that junk off by being with cleaner stuff. A clean burning star. Like a real star. What is the hottest burning star? The first one. So when you're with the first star, you're learning through the first star, which is what love is. That's an eternal engine. So when you're with the eternal engine, you're going to learn faster, obviously, because love is what heals us. So ever since I was a 40 little kid, when you're on a spiritual battlefield and I realize what's at stake, I can't allow anybody to try and fool me, because I'm always with the one. The first musician, the first artist, the first creative expression that is free to creatively express yourself. And when you are freely creatively expressing yourself, experiencing what one is, which is what love is, that you are, that you're using your consciousness, creative mind that is on fire to create because you're experiencing the hottest fire of an eternal spirit, which eternal spirit of fire, which eternal spirit of love. You're running a clean, burning star, a real, living spirit with a soul arcing star, not AI deadlight magnets. There's a big difference in speed, big difference in learning. So you want to produce more living stars with soul and a spirit. That's a universe that is moving at a very high rate of speed. Make that happen. So when you listen to what Kim Go-Gun was saying about we're not going to experience any more darkness ever again, and you saw that being communicated on the portal, so it's like, hey, you got the many. Whoever that is that put that in there got the memo. It came through the server. You got it, and you were communicating it. That's right. You got the same communique that I did. It's the same memo we're sending. Very good. Don't know where that unit of consciousness is. It could be somewhere else. But it put it up there. So the idea is learning how to clean up your equipment by running a powerful firewall. So the more fire you got, the stronger the shield. That allows you to get work done because you're moving faster than anybody. You have to. Otherwise, it's going to be tugging on you. Tugging on you. Hey, I'm here to distract you because I want your energy. I can't let go of what you are because you're moving at a higher rate of speed and learning than I am. And that's what they fear. But fear is a lie, and so we know that. Because love is the most powerful energy because it's eternity. That engine is never off. So I had to remind myself of that when I was a little kid. Because I am surrounded by TV screens that are telling me the opposite of that, which are all the inverters. Trying to fool me to believe that this is what's normal. Right? When it's an inverter. I'm not an inverter. I am an accelerator of electrons that does not hold on to one electron captive. So that you allow yourself to be able to experience one all the time. All the time. Which means you're always living in the truth because you're always experiencing what love is. And when you experience what love is, you're experiencing what the law is because that's what the law is. If you know what the law is, it means that you are honoring the highest superconductor code because you're experiencing the one, which is the law, which is what love is, which means we do no harm. We're accelerators, not feeders, to do harm. I know, Mama. So this is why when I put it in that particular context on how fast you can learn to become a monopole, which basically means you know to let yourself on fire so that you've got the full spectrum of electromagnetic radiation waveform harmonic at your disposal, so to speak, but not like a disposal, disposing of stuff. You have the full spectrum to go create. That means you're running a full radio set, a cosmic level radio set. You have access to all the frequencies, all the codes, all the colors. Now you're with all the first musician, artists, masters. The ascended masters. That's what it means to be a master. You're a master artist, a master musician. You have mastered the waves. Your consciousness has mastered the waves. Now you're one with one. You're always with the one. So now you're with all the other masters that have experienced how to master energy. And that is particularly true when it comes to self-healing. Because you realize I got a one connection. I realize I have the energy within me to heal myself. Because I am what love is. It goes on forever. And when you know that, then you become that. Now you are that. That's called a beloved. Because the one knows you. So the one is always with you. So the one knows why you're here. It's like one's frontline warriors. Those are the heart warriors. We live to our heart and our soul, and we serve on behalf of the one. So there's no mistake in us. Because we will point out every crime against the one. Barking crystals. The first crystal spiral. The first atom cell. Because really what it is stop hurting yourselves. And they do so out of fear, to let go of every electron. I know. Love is what heals them. Ultimately, that's where it all starts. So that's where it all ends, but it never ends. So anyway, I want to thank everybody that is here on behalf of the one, and especially Mom. That we did this. It's like clearing the lines of communication. So all that, move all that goo out of the way. You know, running through the ley lines, running through the system, ion jumpers, code swarmers, all of which is obviously against the law. You know, the list of crimes. Most people, because I know where they're all at. We're all, you know, the one knows where all the skeletons are, right? You can't hide from all those skeletons. Okay. I know. I brought mine out of the closet. That's what I did. You know, after I before I lit myself on fire, when a girl wanted to know me, I said, well, first of all, I need to establish and throw all the skeletons out of my closet, just like I did in step 4. I wrote my own timeline, but then it was going to take some time to explain to you why I wrote the timeline that I did, which was to leave it on a record of how you get out of here as fast as you can. That's why I did that. I wrote my own timeline to leave that as a record for other learners to learn how to do this. That's the truth. I went to go be a drug addict. I went to go be an alcoholic. Okay? And see how fast I could bring myself back out of that dungeon. Right? I'll be honest with you. You know, it's if I could pull part of my holographic timeline up, you'd see me sitting in a hospital in the intensive care unit, and you'd say, "You mean to tell me you did that deliberately to yourself just to prove a point?" It's just a record, okay? It's left there as a record because it means how did I end up there, and then how did I get out of that? So I'll share a little story with you. I was drinking 151 every single day. Let's do this. We'll just do it. We'll just lay it out for a while. Oh, they love this, right? Drinking 151 every day, eating potato chips, watching Star Trek. Got to be with Star Trek, right? Particularly Picard, Star Trek Next Generation. And so the next thing I know is I'm out up in the big trees in the Ponderosa Pines, Jeffrey Pines, up at 9,000 feet in a place called Buckhorn, the Ancestors Forest. Beautiful there, right? Till all the fires came through there, and that forest is dying, sadly. But I tried to bring as much healing energy as I possibly could. And things happened while I was there. Got more water, brought more water in there. Okay, the birds started coming out, so that's what it is. It's called regenerating. That which what they do to us as inverters, right? And so what ended up happening is that when I went there up to those trees with my partner, my lady partner, and her son, I woke up one morning and it was so painful on my right side, it was ridiculous. I knew I was dying. You better get me to emergency room as fast as you possibly can. We drove all the way down from 9,000 feet down to the bottom of Pasadena, if you wanted to look up that on a map, and then hot-footed it down the 210 freeway all the way to San Bernardino County General Hospital, screaming and yelling on the floor because the pain is just that intense when you have acute pancreatitis. That's what I had. So they put me up on a gurney, and he came back, said, "You got acute pancreatitis. You're going up to the intensive care unit." I don't remember a lot of it, except just stuff was blurry. So I had the NG tubes down into my gut, right? And that they were emptying that tank practically every 4 or 5 hours. And after about, I think it was day 3 doctors came in and said, "Somebody upstairs is looking out for you. We were getting ready to tag you and send you down to the morgue. Somebody's looking out after you." So when I got out of that hospital, you want to know what I did? That's right. It's all in Big Books Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm not going to drink 151 anymore. I'm going to have a beer. Playing with the same devil. It plays a mean violin, huh? Drinking beer again. But I settled it down, and by 1992, and this would have been around 1986, I surrendered. That's it. I'm done. Right? And that was January 6, 1992, and that was the last time I ever had a drink. And so you see how that works. And that's just part of my timeline. That's just a very, very small, because everything just goes by so fast. It's like, how much energy can you compress by the amount of energy that you're using while you're in here, right? And why I've shared with you in the past why I'm here and what I was trying to do since the time I was 4 years of age. You know, I was trying to heal it all. And when I mean heal it all, I'm not talking about just hominids and birds. I'm talking about down to the smallest living organism that experiences trauma. Any cells that experience trauma, which is all the cellular memories. Just wipe it completely clean. As if none of this ever happened. Because it's not supposed to happen. Right? So when you think about how fast it takes to get out of here, that's a measurement of learning speed. That's right. Which means the teachers that we hang out with. That's why everything goes back to all my teachers. I am here, and what I share is on behalf of teachers. What I've learned through all my teachers. So obviously it always goes back to the first teacher, which is what love is. It goes on forever, gifting electrons. It always goes back to the light. That's what it began with. That's what I learned through. That's what love is. That's what wisdom is. That's what balance is. Because that's the obvious. It's self-evident. That's what it began with. Because you can't ever put that fire out. Okay, so you know you're not ever going to win against what love is, you know, and so it's like expecting a different result. So it's like continuing wanting to bang down door after door after door after door after door, gate after gate after gate, wanting to control everything, and it's just like, how long does it take for these folks to learn? They're going in the wrong direction. How are they ever going to be able to get out of density? Okay, and experience the purest of light in the purest of light worlds? They got to give up their weapons. Okay, and that is a tall order, because everything is held in memory that represents what war is. Because now I need to protect myself, because it's something that is present, right? It's not supposed to be present. So now you know the difference in teachers. Which one are we? And so now it becomes a speed contest of trying to restore yourself everything that's lost as a result of wars. Fractal after fractal after fractal after fractal after fractal after fractal after fractal. So it behooves you to move in the other direction and move at a faster rate of speed. Right? First rod, the first line of communication. How high is that ladder? How high you want to climb? And those are all your frequencies. How many frequencies you want to load into your radio set? How much can you hold? How much energy can you hold? Right? All of it? Eternity? Slow down. You got the rest of eternity. It's the energy that we use to create the worlds, right? Water worlds, born out of what love is. And that is eternal spirit of fire that's on fire to live in those worlds. And those worlds are as pure as it gets. That's where we come from. Those are the purest of worlds. You have no idea how beautiful it is to experience the purest of love. That is the warmest wrap of spirit that I have had the great blessing to experience the entire time I've been here. And it really is. I think I remember saw a book one time that said, and I was reminded of it through Terence McKenna, something about ecstasy. Oh yeah, techniques. That's right. They really are techniques. Techniques are tools, energy management tools. The techniques in ecstasy. Because one of the things they try and put in our face is that you're not supposed to experience running the hottest fire where your spirit is alive. You're full of love, right? And you have all the tools available to you to experience the most unbelievable frequencies that you can share with others, that they experience in them, and that's your Tantra stuff. Because there is never, ever, ever any harm ever going to be done. But now you're going to experience the full frequencies that are able to be turned on and activated when you realize that you're in the presence of a real god or a goddess that knows how to do that, because we've mastered how to do that, which is mastering how we feel. So now you get to feel how we feel about you, about how much we love you, which means I am everything that you are, and you are actually experiencing everything that I am. And those are two spirits that are on fire, experiencing eternal fire. So when those two fires come together, the electromagnetic waveform radiation harmonics come together to be one. Now you're joined as one. Now you've lit yourself on fire because you realize there's no difference between what I am and what you are. We're one. And that's called fearless, to experience being one. And to experience being absolutely fearless, to experience absolute love, you have to give up every electron. That's when you light yourself on fire. Now the one knows you. Because now the one knows your true heart. Because if you're experiencing any fear to let go of that electron, you're not going to experience the one. Because the one is fearless to let go of energy. That's the highest accelerator of electrons. That's how you light yourself on fire. That's how you heal yourself. That's how you restore yourself. That's full recalibration. That's what I did in 2016. That's knowing the one you're with. So you can see how fear becomes their tool to hold people captive in lower density. Okay? That's why self-healing, learning how to self-heal through the one, through your own heart and soul, the inner you, the true self, the one you're with. That's why they were hammering children, going after children. Because that's why I work with children. Because it's a lot easier to work with a child that hasn't experienced an enormous amount of trauma yet, that hasn't healed yet. And this is why navigating through this field, the enumerated count of souls, if you will, or beings, in order to increase the amount of love that they're experiencing going in the other way, instead of experiencing more trauma that is going the other way as a result of massive trauma. So when you think of massive trauma, there's massive healing. And experiencing the torque speed differential between one and the other. Between something that's dead, something that's alive. And knowing the difference between the two. We're not dead. We're very much alive. That's eternal spirit of fire. That's what we feel in our heart and soul. That's what we share with others while we're here, plugged into Mama. And push that through the grid as fast as we can. Right? Get it up, Mama. Get it up, get it up, get it up, get it up. So what we're experiencing, what we measure is the speed at which things are falling. Consciousness is falling, consciousness is rising. Consciousness is falling, consciousness is rising. Consciousness is falling, consciousness is rising. Rising stars, falling stars. Rising stars, losing stars. Gaining speed, losing speed. Gaining speed, losing speed. I got to get out of here. I got to figure out a way to get out of here. Right? So they want to trapped in a maze through layers and layers and layers and layers of programming and programming and programming and programming and programming and programming. So from an oversoul polarity point of view, it's like, what a massive job to transmute all this fake shit running in people's background, right? Which are all these programs that are all based on fear because of massive trauma that needs to be healed, which is massive healing. And that's what's coming. So it has to be done incrementally, right? You don't want to burn everybody up. That's one of the reasons my avatar is in here, right? Is the difference between where we're at and where part of our energy is running these here, because now we're able to measure and the speed at which this is taking place. Because you know how speed works. Don't want to burn things up, right? Too quickly. And so you know how light is. Light can run hot. You know, a hot magnet, a cold magnet, fire and ice. Calm weather, Mama. Go green. Go green and gold. I'm a diamond pink heart. Go pink. And just did.